Graffiti has been around in all different parts of the world in one form or another, whether it was, you want to consider the cave paintings in Lascaux on down. People, by the time they had walls, they were writing on them. Early in the United States, beginning really in the antebellum years, people began to write on boxcars and they could roll from coast to coast. In the hobo years of the Depression, that became even more prominent. There was always gang graffiti dating back to the 30s and 20s in Los Angeles and other parts of California, the Southwest. There was name-based graffiti all over the place. There was Kilroy was here, which actually sprung out of a suburb of Boston, oddly enough, and became this kind of global icon for the greatest generation. But when this odd combination of name and fame came together in the late 1960s in both Philadelphia and New York, it really exploded. And what was so magical and so important in the history of American graffiti were the years really 1971 to 1975 in New York. And what happened was a generation of kids, and it's really important to remember that. These were kids. There was almost nobody over the age of 19 involved in this. Developed a whole art form that went from a simple signature, just Joe was here kind of thing, all the way up to a mural that covered the entire side of a subway car. And this was something that had just never been seen in our history before, an entire movement just completely developed by kids.
Some may call it artwork, but to the NYPD, the men in this video are committing acts of vandalism, spray painting a train with graffiti, along with a cache of more than 1,500 cans of spray paint and other graffiti paraphernalia. Police found this handgun and assault rifle.
We had the bullets for it. He had a bump stock on it. He made it fully automatic. It's pretty dangerous.
Levine's neighbors say they had no idea.
The rifle and the handgun, that's what throws me off.
Police say this is Levine's handiwork on the Metropolitan M train. They say he's part of 2 graffiti crews with members nationwide.
All they're interested in is destroying or spray painting trains.
In New York City, once MTA trains are tagged, they are taken out of service until they can be cleaned, impacting commuters everywhere.
Graffiti art is bigger than it's ever been. It keeps getting bigger, no matter what rules and laws the cities create. There'll always be the next batch of young kids that just want to go out and write on things.
We all who have that inner kid in us still can retain that appeal of what graffiti is, this just amazing amount of line and color that is in a public space. And then just the whole, how did they do that kind of factor. Graffiti is the rock and roll of visual art.
Hundreds, probably thousands that have, made the transformation from things they've learned on the street and been able to bring it into galleries and into museums and still make their work as exciting, if not more exciting, than it was on the street because of the extended mediums they have to work in and the time they have to do it.
For artists that work both indoors and outdoors as they grow older, whether it's in galleries or museums, there's always there is a difference, of course, but it's a question of audience, it's a change in audience. And then the other thing is that working indoors, there's some good things to that. You can do things like make more money. You can do things like not have to have your stuff be taken down by weather or the elements or, a vigilant graffiti buff. So there's pluses and minuses. You get to spend more time on it. You get to work on projects you couldn't do out in the street. So they're basically just two different creatures. But the thing is that graffiti tends to attract some incredibly talented people who have incredibly big ambitions. You know, you can't just go in and think you're going to do a little bit. You have to go whole hog. And the people who go into graffiti and they want to go inside, they tend to have good ideas on the inside as well, and very big ambitions.
Graffiti artist, you're going to work with your setting. You're going to look at the city differently. You're going to see a rooftop. You're going to see a spot someone else might not have seen, and you're going to work with the city. So if you're really good at that and really good at choosing your color palettes and making that work, there's a good chance you're going to become a better artist at the same time, you know, because you're going to have the same train of thought when you're working in the studio.
It's always hard to get kids or young people at all, or just anybody, into museums, into galleries. It's hard to get people through the door. That's the constant challenge. And then once you have them there, you have to present them with something that is, you know, that is going to captivate them. And that's hard. Now, it's also very hard to get your name 40 feet tall or 40 feet long on the side of a bridge abutment while a train whizzes by. But a lot of people see that. And it's a funny little fact, you know, it's a funny little inconvenient truth of museums that the front of them, the facade of the museum will always be seen by more people than the inside and the art within, inside and the art within. Graffiti writers, they're not dumb, they recognize that. They work in public spaces because they want to be seen.